right, we are back with game 2 from the Emery Castle Chess Camp tournament, the Grand Prix. And this time we've got Prateek Mishra versus Grandmaster Becerra. And Julio has been playing both sides of this since before I was born, and I can remember studying many great games that he's played in these positions. Also, he's extremely dangerous in Rossalimo type positions as well. And I really love the way he handles these solid positions. We'll see how he outplays his very, very talented opponent. Young and has been gaining a lot of FIDE points recently, so no disrespect that I'm showing a loss by any means. B5, and this is one of the few points to where might investigate another move here, but I can't fault Julio's play at all. D5 is popular in the database with martial type flavor, but rook e8, nothing wrong there at all. And here was a deviation from the big guys. H3 was played in the main game, rook e1, bishop f8, and d5. This is dynamically balanced according to the engine, and we're following Duda Carlsen from August 2021. H3 was played in the main game. Same sort of themes though, bishop f8, d4, bishop b7, and now d5 is completely off the table for black. So it begins to be a point of interest for those who like playing these positions. Should we always go knight a5? Should we go knight b8? What's better here? Well, in this case, knight a5 seems a bit speculative, as it typically goes with c5 type plans, and with the bishop on b7, our knight's not exactly going to have escape squares in the event that white starts pressing on the queen side. So knight b8 is a good place to start. And this is already a critical moment of the game. You've got to question with white, what should I do here? And in fact, I'll flip it around. If you're figure out what the counterplay is, figure out what black wants to do. I like to use the thinking process of what is my opponent's plan? Can we play against that plan? Because I believe if white questioned what is black about to do and played actively to stop it here, he would maintain his advantage, and this would not be, say, the game of the tournament for Julio. So pause your video and try to figure out what black is trying to do and how to stop it. All right, in the main game, white played a very, very natural move in knight f1. Black's plan, though, is to play c6 and actively play against the center with a break. So we don't want to deal with, say, the capture and having to capture back with a pawn. As we'll discuss soon, that's a popular dynamic in the Sicilian defense for black's perspective. What you need to do is b3, which is mainline in the database, and after c6, c4. And we bolstered the center, and this is more like a, say, King's Indian setup for white. King's Indian classical setup. We've got the strong pawn center, and white maintains a slight edge there. So coming back to the main game and back to Julio's perspective, we've got knight f1, c6. Now black has fully equalized and can begin to press. Knight e3, grab, grab, and it would be fantastic if white had the bishop on b3 in this position, because captures, 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 the queen would be sitting on d5, and then you have a backwards pawn. And that is the dynamic that white's looking for when playing these types of positions. This pawn structure pops up in, say, the Najdorf, Sveshnikov, Kalashnikov. It happens in a number of Sicilian structures. You want to be the person who captures with a piece if you're playing white, so that is a weakness in the long term. But since black is able to capture here and force white to take, it protects the weakness. It also gives you more square clearance. So now when I'm looking at this position as both, say, a King's Indian player as well as a Sicilian player, I'm looking at G6, I'm looking at F5, and you've got great space and you can press on the king side. My Sveshnikov people should be getting excited when seeing this type of imbalance. Knight D7, and here, this is one of the last moments before the game becomes one-sided. You got a sense that it's starting to go wrong for you for white here. This imbalance makes me nervous, and black should have easy play. Now, B3 was played in the main game, and this is a big issue because now the C-pawn is weak, and you don't have the ability to play like we saw in a previous variation with C4. Queen C7 places pressure. And after B3, the E-bow just tanks, and it gives black, I want to say like a pawn and a half to 2 pawns edge. So another critical moment if you're a pause your video type of guy or gal. What do you do with white here? Place some pressure. You know what? We'll flip it back over. We'll give you white's perspective to figure it out. Something active. Go. All right, hopefully you found A4, putting the question to the structure, getting something done. You need to generate counterplay. And say after Queen C7, there are a couple of different ideas, but I like Knight H2, where you have the ability to play Bishop B3, Knight G4. I mean, I believe the engine was recommending a move like Queen C4 here. That's where Bishop B3 comes in. And you definitely have interesting play. And you want to accomplish kind of Knight G4. Slows down this progress with G6 and F5. So again, actively playing against the plan. But B3 was played in the game. Like I said before, C4 is not going to be a possibility. Queen C7. And since C4 is played, a pawn drops off. And it was sacrificed for counterplay, but white's just not going to be able to get enough for the piece here. The open file is about to be contested, so bolster it. And after Knight H4, this is really encouraging black to do what he needs to be doing in the position anyway. G6 keeps the knight out, as well as we have the potential to play F5 and begin to press on that wing. Queen D3, not too worried about sacrifices, as we can pretty easily hide from the checks. There's going to be no issues. But Bishop G7 just for safety, and you may want to look at those types of ideas at some point. Rook AC1. Would you like to trade? No. And here, if it was me, I wouldn't hesitate much by playing F5. And as we saw in the previous game, Julio definitely still a King's Indian player, so it had to be on his mind. But maybe it was a question of, I'm completely solid. Why go all out when I don't have to take any unnecessary risk here? I can just trade down. I've got a pawn in hand. So rook takes, rook c8. Would you like to trade some more? Help me simplify the win? No? All right, rook c7. Very flexible, very clean here. And white should definitely consider getting some coordination to be able to move, because you could lose quite quickly with white if you're not careful. Say, for instance, Knight D2, followed by Knight B3. White should be fine. But after Bishop D2, black missed immediate crushing pressure. And hopefully you saw the idea in the last variation. Just get everybody working together. Queen C8. And the engine gives, put the bishop back. And after Knight F6, bishop takes D5. And this is just over. But Julio had a specific plan in mind with lifting the rook, and it was pressure the d-pawn, Queen A8. Nothing wrong with that. Black still has a substantial edge. And after bishop A5, no worries. And Knight F6. Very strong play by Julio. Now the issues in white's position are just too much. The d-pawn will fall as black has excellent coordination. We take those. After rook b6, now it begins to get fun. The best minor piece, we're going to lop that one off. Now, critical play here. The rest of the game, I want you to try to find what Julio played because he's so on point with the rest of these moves. And it's all based off of absolute aggression. So put the ideas together and see if you can't walk in the footsteps of a strong GM. All right, so hopefully you found the first move, which kicks things off. No defense here. If you're defending through aggression. First, we kick things off with knight d5. Say, sure, the d-pawn is lost. It's going to be lost on our terms, and we're going to have perfect harmony with the pieces. Knight d5. And after takes, knight f4. Notice how everything comes alive. Hopefully you found this idea. Threatening mate, threatening the deflection with the capture on c4. Everything's coming together beautifully. Queen f1. Well, if you saw knight f4, this next move definitely should jump out because it's all about playing for mate. Rook takes c4. And you go, well, wait. Isn't there an issue here? Well, queen takes rook, queen takes g2. We got the mate. What about rook d8? Don't we lose our queen? Here's the last finesse of the game. Very, very nice tactical idea to finish things off. Can you see it? Takes. And rook c1. The last move of the game, as queen takes, is met strongly by knight e2, where the queen is lost, and it's a nice mop-up job. Excellent game by Grandmaster Becerra, which highlights, still got it. I got to say, as a Florida resident, I'm very excited for Julio to represent us soon in the senior tournaments. I believe he's currently 48. He is going to be an absolute monster in the Irwin. So I'm just letting everybody know. You can look forward, if you're playing in the Irwin, to facing the boss. He's coming for you. And I'm hoping he can bring some of those senior titles back to us in Florida. So good luck in your future games. And hopefully you enjoyed this little foray into Castle Chess Grand Prix games. Thanks for joining in.